When tin was first alloyed with copper, it spearheaded a metalworking revolution. Tin bronze, made up of 10% tin, was stronger and much more durable than the arsenical copper that had characterized the early Bronze Age. In Europe and the Mediterranean, the use of tin bronze became widespread during the early to mid 2nd millennium BCE. This is evidenced from numerous artifacts, but it's never been completely clear how this transformation from metal working with arsenical copper to tin bronze took place. This is because of the tin problem. Although copper sources are plentiful, tin deposits are extremely rare globally. So for tin bronze to have caught on, complex trade networks must have evolved at that time. But just how long distance were these trade networks? Although it's known that the earliest large-scale tin bronze production in the region was an innovation of southwest Britain, what role did these tin deposits in Cornwall and Devon play in its later widespread adoption? Now, a new paper published in the journal Antiquity finally solves this mystery. Let's get into it. In Europe, there are only 4 major tin deposits that could have supplied societies requiring large amounts of tin bronze for their artifacts. Of course, minor deposits may also have been used locally on a smaller scale. The 4 major deposits are Cornwall and Devon in the southwest of Britain, which has produced an estimated 2.5 million tonnes of tin over the years. Erzgebirge on the German-Czech border, northwest Iberia, and Brittany and the Massif Central in France are the other 3. However, these have produced significantly less than that of Cornwall and Devon. Previous research tried to pinpoint whether the tin used in Mediterranean bronze had come from Western or Central Europe or Anatolia and Central Asia. Such research was carried out by analysing the tin isotope compositions of tin ores and studying tin artefacts from Bronze Age shipwrecks, as well as looking at the information within Assyrian texts. But none of this produced conclusive results as to the provenance of the tin found in the artefacts. Now, Project Ancient Tin has sought to finally solve this mystery by analysing tin ores and tin artefacts from southwest Britain and Europe. The process of alloying copper with tin did not follow the same timeline everywhere. However, roughly 4 phases have been identified for its adoption. Firstly, it was used quite rarely, then for specific types of artifacts before its use became widespread alongside arsenical copper. The final phase was the full adoption of tin bronze, which has been termed bronzization. The earliest evidence for its use has been found in the Balkans, dating back to the mid-5th millennium BCE, but this was likely the result of the smelting of a naturally mixed copper-tin ore. By 3000 BCE, tin bronze was used for certain types of artifacts in West Asia, even though the only tin deposits in Anatolia are relatively small. By the end of the 3rd millennium BCE, tin deposits were being mined in Central Asia, and in 2200, around 50% of all artifacts produced in West Asia were made of tin bronze. The rest was made of arsenical copper. However, in Europe at the same time, very little was made of tin bronze, and even then, these metal artifacts had tin levels lower than 5%. After 2200, a revolution occurred. Britain switched all of its metalwork to tin bronze, and this was soon followed by the rest of Europe and the Mediterranean. During the Bronze Age, tin mining in southwest Britain was done by exploiting alluvial deposits rather than the veins of hard rock. This was much easier and is the result of the erosion of tin ore veins found in granite outcrops there. These enter streams forming heavy mineral-rich layers known as placers, and which sometimes also contain gold. Eventually, these layers become buried under alluvium. The depth of the tin bed in Cornwall and Devon varies from several meters upstream to tens of meters downstream, and during the Bronze Age, this was exploited by digging, washing, crushing, and smelting. During the medieval period, Cornwall and Devon were the biggest tin-producing region in the whole of Europe. It was the reworking of these tin beds in the 19th century that revealed artifacts belonging to the Bronze Age and showed that tin mining there had a long history. A structure discovered in the coastal village of Sennen in Cornwall was dated to between 2400 and 2100 BCE and yielded tools used for the crushing of tin ore as well as Bell Beaker pottery. It was in around 2400 that the Bell Beaker people had moved into Britain and Ireland from continental Europe, introducing their distinctive pottery style and copper and gold metalworking. However, the structure at Sennen is the earliest evidence in the whole of Europe for tin ore mining. Tin ore, tin slag, and tin artefacts have been found in Bronze Age settlements and burials dating to the Bronze Age across Britain. Tin ingots have also been excavated from 2 shipwrecks in Devon. Less dating evidence for tin exploitation in the Bronze Age has been found at the other 3 main deposits in Europe, but there are a few examples. Aside from archaeological evidence, texts do point to the long-distance trade of tin. The Greek historian Herodotus wrote in 420 BCE about the geographically distant Cassiterides, or tin islands, as being the source of Mediterranean tin. This could conceivably have referred to Britain, and such a source could have had a deeper history than classical antiquity when the text was written. The Romans also described a journey carried out by Pythias the Greek to Belerion, which means Cornwall, where he encountered tin-working, friendly people and tin trade with a tidal island called Ichthys. This tidal island might have referred to St. Michael's Mount in Cornwall. The tin was supposedly taken to France and then onwards to the Mediterranean, with the total journey taking 30 days. Unfortunately, the original text is lost, but the journey is gleaned from summaries that were written by the Romans. Project Ancient Tin carried out 3 independent analyses: trace elements, lead isotopes, and tin isotopes. Tin ores have trace amounts of lead from other minerals and because of the radioactive decay of the tin ore. Take a look at the paper, which is open access, for further details on the actual methods used. In total, the team analysed 142 ores for trace elements, 99 for lead isotopes, and 23 for tin isotopes. These samples were taken from museums, private collections, and stream panning fieldwork in Cornwall and Devon and the other locations of major tin deposits in West and Central Europe. More than 200 tin artefacts, mostly terrestrial and shipwrecked ingots, were sampled. The results were then compared with tin ingot data previously obtained from shipwrecks near Israel and the Uluburun. One way of identifying the provenance of tin ore or a tin artifact is to see how much indium is present. Ore from Cornwall and Devon contains substantially more than those from Iberia and Brittany and Massif Central. High levels of indium are retained during smelting as well, meaning the artifacts can be matched to the ores. All ingots from the Mediterranean shipwrecks were found to have high levels of indium, which gives them an origin in southwest Britain. The geological formation age of the ores that were used to produce the tin artifacts were also analysed using the lead isotope technique. This helps to differentiate between different potential sources. Tin ingots found on several shipwrecks near Israel and one near France could all be dated to the Variscan geological formation of the granites and associated ores in Cornwall and Devon. Trace element and isotope analyses of tin ingots from shipwrecks near Israel matched those from the shipwreck near Salcombe in Devon and those found in other parts of southwest Britain. So what these results show us is that the full adoption of tin bronze spread from southwest Britain eastward starting between 2200 and 2100 BCE. The first phase can be defined as the time tin ores were first discovered and exploited by the Bell Beaker people in Britain, which may have come about as a byproduct of gold prospecting. From 1900 to 1700 BCE, this bronzization moved across northwest, northern and central Europe, marking the second phase, and at this time the tin deposit in Erzgebirge was also exploited. Interestingly, the gold in the famous Nebra disc from Germany was found to originate in southwest Britain. The third phase saw tin bronze adoption taking place across southeast Europe and the Mediterranean between 1500 and 1300 BCE. During this bronzization of Europe and the Mediterranean, not only was the innovation spreading eastwards from southwest Britain, but also the tin itself. Cypro-Minoan inscriptions found on tin ingots from shipwrecks near Israel that had originated in Cornwall and Devon support the idea that the trade was partially organised by communities at stopping points along the way. So what we're seeing is a remarkably complex and well-organised trading network. It's not easy to estimate the scale of the Bronze Age European tin trade, but the authors of the paper make some estimations based on copper mines that have been studied in the past and the approximate amount of tin that would have been needed to make tin bronze. It's possible that somewhere between 100 to 200 tons of tin was traded every year during the mid-2nd millennium BCE. Although this video is about tin, I've done many videos before about how complex the trade networks were in the Bronze Age and how this reliance that different areas had on each other may have contributed to the Bronze Age collapse when also faced with difficult environmental conditions. So it's not really a surprise that tin was also moving over vast geographic distances. Although I suppose what does surprise me is that this was all being coordinated from a small coastal area of an island all the way in the northwest of Europe. I wonder what the landscape in Cornwall and Devon looked like at the time and just how many people were involved in this business. Presumably the harbours were a hive of activity and pretty big settlements must have evolved to support the populations needed to sustain this trade. That's it. Let me know what you think about the ancient tin trade in the comments. A big thank you goes out to my patrons and channel members, and I'll see you next time.